The premium version of Sora is $200 a month. But is it worth that? There are a number of good AI video generators available for people at a fraction of the monthly price of Sora, even if you're using the cheaper plan that gives you access to the model. Which begs the question, how good is Sora? In this video, I've developed 4 different text prompts and fed them to Sora: Minimax by Hailuo, Luma Dream Machine, RunwayML, and Kling. I'll show you each generation, and you can compare for yourself which is best. The text prompts are meant to give the generators different tasks and variety, so we can see where they excel and where they struggle. The 4 I've developed are a scenery prompt, a prompt for animals doing weird things, a fantasy scene, and a something with humans. After you watch all the generations, make sure to comment down below which videos you liked the best. Now, on to the video generations. The first prompt is this: a video of a serene mountain landscape during sunrise with rolling fog, a clear river flowing through, and birds flying in the background. This should be the easiest prompt for the generators to produce a good video for, but we'll see. Let's start with Luma. This is very, very good. You've got the fog, the river. For motion, we have a really gentle zooming in to go along with a little bit of motion in the clouds. So there's not a ton of motion, but it really followed prompt very well. The only thing I don't see is any birds in the video. Now for RunwayML, the first thing I notice is the birds flying, which Luma missed, the fog, and the river flowing through, and the river looks really good. At the very start, there might be some weird flow patterns that don't look quite accurate. Overall, a really good generation. The next generator is Minimax by Hailuo. The mist is kind of surrounding the river. That's really the only thing that I kind of could say that is a little bit wrong with it, but it did get the birds in the background, and it does look like sunrise. Our 4th generator is Kling. Right off the bat, it looks like we do have a sunrise, and there's definitely this river in the foreground here, and mist down in the valley. And as we scroll forward, we see more of the river. It looks like it's winding through the forest. Overall, a pretty good generation. The only thing I don't see here are any birds flying, so that looks like it might have been missed. Now, let's compare these 4 generators with our video from Sora. I only have the $20 a month, so the highest quality I can generate in is 720p. But even with that, I think the detail here is very good. The motion is much faster than the other generators, and the birds play a much more prominent role. The only thing that is slightly strange is the motion of the camera, along with that of the fog, seems off. For this prompt, I do think Sora had the best generation, although all of the results were pretty good. The next prompt is one I've used quite a lot, and a favorite of mine: generate a video of a penguin skateboarding down a sandy beach while wearing sunglasses, with waves crashing in the background. Let's look at the Luma generation. To start, we do have the penguin, and there is a little blip at the very start of the video where he's wearing sunglasses, but then they phase out. You also have the waves crashing in the background, although they are blurred out. Overall though, the penguin and the motion of the skateboard actually looks really good. You can see it jostle a little bit as it goes over humps in the sand. Other than our missing sunglasses, I like this generation. On to RunwayML's generation. We do have a penguin on a beach, but the wheels on the skateboard are a little weird, and the motion of the wave feels very wrong. This little piece of land should break the waves rather than getting drowned out. Both the motion of the skateboard and the penguin don't quite look accurate. I think it's fair to say this isn't the best generation. On to Minimax for our penguin. Unlike Luma, it did get the sunglasses right, but there is some weird motion with the skateboard. Luma did a better job with the skateboard, but the detail and realism of this penguin overall is much better with Minimax, and I like the way the waves came out as well. And on to Kling. So far, I think this might be the best one, minus the fact that there are no sunglasses on the penguin. The board maybe is a little bit narrow, or it shifts a little bit, but the penguin looks really good, and the waves in the background look very natural. The beach looks correct. As mentioned, the only drawback is the missing sunglasses. And finally, for the penguin prompt, let's look at Sora's video. First off, the penguin's detail is very lifelike. I'm not sure if the white strip that runs all the way down its side is accurate. Both the motion is great. The waves, beach, and board all look very good. As good if not better than the other generators. Again though, the sunglasses are nowhere to be found. Sora and Kling take this round for me, but really the only generation I'd say was bad was the one from RunwayML. Now, this prompt is much more difficult, and we'll see the generators struggle a bit more. Prompt number 3 is a video of a glowing dragon flying over a mystical forest with floating islands and waterfalls cascading in the sky. In Luma's generation, I think the dragon looked really good in that first frame, but the movement looks a little bit weird as it comes towards us. Towards the end, the tail and wings both act weird, and the same thing with the flying islands. As the scene moves, the islands lose detail, and you see some morphing in the trees. Let's see what Runway did. We do have a glowing dragon, but it seems to be walking over the land rather than flying, and the islands don't appear to be floating in the air. They mostly appear to be in the ocean. Just like the penguin prompt, I think this is a bit of a miss. Jumping over to Hailuo right away, we definitely have a dragon, but it's hard to see any detail of his face since it's flying away from us. The floating islands match the prompt, but the thing I notice about this one is the quality of a lot of the background seems very low resolution and out of focus. And now for Kling, the dragon looks very cool. Although it looks a little bit more like a serpent than a dragon, we don't really have any wings on it. But the fiery glow is pretty cool. Our islands aren't floating. They are just sitting here in the water. And there is a random waterfall coming from the sky. There's something weird going on here in the background as well. This floating shape that looks like it could be another waterfall. And lastly, let's look at Sora. Just like Luma, the dragon looks awesome in the first frame. Both the wings and the tail run into some motion issues as the video goes along though. I think this is the best the floating islands and waterfalls look from any of the generations. I think Luma and Sora are the clear winners on this round. I saved what turned out to be by far the most difficult prompt for last. Produce a video of a group of people in futuristic attire, dancing in zero gravity aboard a sleek space station with Earth visible through the windows. Starting again with Luma, we see some movement issues, as well as some of the people come randomly appear and disappear. You can see Earth in the background, but you've also got another random planet up here. Other than the people, it's a pretty cool video though. On to RunwayML. Right away, we see 3 women in a spaceship. The motion of the arms is a little strange, but they are distinctly dancing and move around. The spaceship looks good, and you can definitely see Earth in the background, especially after Runway struggled with the last 2 prompts. This one is much stronger. Now, for Minimax, this one's kind of a weird generation. The faces are blurry and distorted, and they aren't really dancing around. They are kind of just hanging there. The Earth in the background does look decent, and the room they are in is a believable spaceship. And for Kling, we see there are women on a platform in space, rather than on a spaceship. The movement seems to be mimicking dancing, but it is a little awkward, and there are some issues with the motion again, but we do have the Earth in the background. And lastly, Sora. I don't see much movement from the individuals. It more seems like they are all just floating around in a circle. And as with the other generators, the motion of the humans really causes them issues. This last prompt, I'm not sure any of the videos are usable. Runway and Sora probably did the best, but all 5 struggled. If you can't justify the price, it's nice to know that models like Hailuo and Kling, which offer free credits on a daily or monthly basis, and fairly cheap models like Luma and Runway are, at least for now, great alternatives to Sora.